Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me. You're probably getting an evil echo. Sorry about that. Let me know if you can hear me all right and see me all right. Waves. Oh. Hello, Arava. All clear? Yes, we're good to go. Okay, we'll get started. I'm sorry I have to put that in there, but you know, we have problems every now and then, and I want to make sure that you can hear and see me all right and everything's cool. Hope everyone is in a fantastic Shabbat kind of mood. I see some new faces. I see the usual Shabbat family here, and glad to have you all. And the Tommy experience. I'm not sure what the Tommy experience is, but okay. You're like deaf, dumb, and blind? Because I'm not playing pinball for you. Have to turn the music off. Dog's going nuts. Be right back. Okay, keep going. Alright. I did remember to press play. I actually started recording. So, yeah, I'm assuming that's what she meant. Oh, she hears and sees me. Okay, cool. Alright. I hope everyone had a wonderful week. Welcome to Shabbat. Basically, this is Around the Shabbat Table. And for those of you who are new to us and don't know, this is not necessarily a service. This is viewed more as you showing up at our OneShul home and joining us around the Shabbat table. I don't feel comfortable doing an entire service myself. I don't feel that's my purpose. And I want this to be more homey and comfortable. So we hope you feel that way, and we hope you feel like you're actually sitting around the table with us and enjoying us. And please interact. I'm going to post a Siddur. If anybody has a Siddur to post, that would be wonderful. With that being said, we're going to get started with our observance this evening, and we'll start with the candle lightings. I have already lit my candles. I do not light my candles after dark. If you choose to do that, that's fine with you, but I go ahead and I do the blessing anyway. And this particular candle blessing is done by one of our OneShul community, Miss Rahel, who is not with us this evening. And so we'll get started.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav V'tivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. And from there we'll move on to Kiddush. And this is a generic Kiddush so far, as I have not found anyone from the community to record Kiddush for this particular observance yet. If somebody would be interested in doing that, even if it's just your voice, please contact me. Let me know, because I would love to have you do it. I feel it's much better, since we are sitting around the Shabbat table, that the people around the Shabbat table are the ones actually saying the blessings. And I'm slowly but surely accumulating those blessings from each and every one of you, and I like to thank you for that. So here's Kiddush.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו וסבנו ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון חילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית תעלה למוקרי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון חלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. Sorry about the echo again. I'm really working on that for you. We are going to move on to Hamotzi. Those of you who have to wash your hands, please go do so now, and we will wait for you. I do mine beforehand. Everybody knows it's difficult for me to get challah to begin with. I was unable to get any this time of year, but you know, we'll do the blessing anyways. And so if you'd like to go ahead and wash your hands, that'd be great. And I'm actually going to have to load the video. I'm just falling apart this evening. Joshua, you have your hands washed. All right, cool. All right, we're going to go ahead and do Hamotzi then, since everyone seems to be okay and done with that. And again, a generic. If someone would like to record the Hamotzi blessing, please contact me, let me know. I'd love to have you do it. And here we go.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Elven Jews, yes. And if you're following along in the Siddur, oh yeah, I usually sing. So I will do that for you, but I have something very special to add to this. Everybody knows that I played a wonderful instrument a few weeks back. While I'm thinking of it, I would like to thank everybody who showed up for Torah Trivia Night. It was fantastic, through the roof, fabulous. Our winners from the top down were Miss Rahel, who is in the chat room, Alex, who is in the chat room, and our own Tracy, who does Ma'ariv, midweek Ma'ariv, was the second runner-up. So it was definitely fantastic, and we're through the frog. I have something a little more interesting for you this week. This has been a wonderful week for me. And Arava, who is one of our OneShul family and does things in the background for us and covers up all our little mistakes and hides our mistakes for us and does the YouTube, actually sent me a gift. It showed up around my birthday, so I will accept it as a birthday gift. But she doesn't even know that I received it yet. This is a kosher Irish shofar. Now keep in mind, I have tried this very little today, but I will give an attempt to start off Bim Bam and Shabbat Shalom, as I usually sing, with the wonderful gift I've received from Arava. And I can't even thank you enough, Arava. It's absolutely amazing. It's I'm just blown away. And it is kosher, so there you go. And I have to say, my parents' dogs, when I opened it, because I was visiting them, when I went to open it, the dogs thought it was a treat for them. I had to kind of smack them away real quick. So, so I'm going to give this a quick start to Bim Bam and Shabbat Shalom, which you know you all have to sing along, so don't leave me singing here and looking like a fool, okay? And yeah, this is not easy. There you go. Not too bad for my second try. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Alright. Now comes to the fun part. This is what I like to call blessings. Why we do this, why we have Shabbat, and we need to remember why we have Shabbat, for the blessings through the week. We all know that weeks aren't exactly fantastic, but you have to look for the blessings, and when we take time out for Shabbat, it gives us time to think about that, thank Hashem for that, and look for the blessings and hope for more blessings the next week. I cannot even express how many blessings I have gotten this week. It has been a truly, truly amazing week. Obviously, the shofar, which the gift, I don't even have words for. Honestly, I don't have words for it. Just amazing. I had my sister and some friends come down from New York for my birthday and actually got me out of the house, and that was a wonderful blessing. And I actually finally got some chairs. I know that sounds odd, but I've been sitting on lounger cushions and my back has been bothering me, and I'm usually slunched over when I'm talking to you and too close into the camera. Now I have these lovely chairs which I can sit back in and enjoy you folks. At this time, I ask everybody in the chat room to share at least one experience that they've had this week that they consider a blessing or something that's good that's happened to them, and go from there. Miss Sarah shares that she has a wonderful dog. Her dog is spoiled rotten, yes, but no doubt wonderful nonetheless. So if anybody would like to, Isaac says, I had a great week subbing in a gifted classroom for two days. I had fairly good, I'm sorry, I'm going to put my glasses on. Fairly good health, and so far, despite money troubles, my family and I are staying afloat. And that's awesome. That's really great. And when you do help out like that, you definitely feel good about it. Darian shares, it is Thanksgiving here in Canada. Yes, Thanksgiving in Canada. The Lima Bean Indulgence holiday. And absolutely wonderful. I have a friend of mine who is going through the same thing, and having a great dinner with her family, and took a fun trip to the local fall fair. Joshua got a pay raise. That's always a good thing. I could use one of those right about now. Doc says he started a second part-time job, which if you need the money and you're happy working, that's definitely a good thing, especially if you need the money. Arava got shofar and got to gift Addi, and I love that. Thank you so much. It's such a blessing. Alex says a few digital paintings I did came out good, and I just friended you on Facebook, Alex, once I found out who you were on Facebook, and if I'm not mistaken, I saw one of your was that one you posted earlier today? If that was one of yours, it was definitely fantastic. As a digital artist myself, I found it absolutely wonderful. Lily says it started a Hebrew class next week. Awesome! I just got through my basic Hebrew class. I don't know how. I stumbled through it. I'm sure I'm going to need a lot more. I still can't read it for the life of me, but you know, that's a whole new thing. Kim says she was volunteering with Holocaust Awareness Museum. May help with writing for punktorah. Awesome, I think you should. And enrolled in Darshan Yeshiva, which is OneShul's class where you can become ordained or not become ordained, and received a Yiddish book. And that's cool, that's awesome. And I hope to see you writing. And you know, if you're doing that sort of thing, I may pick your brain every once in a while. Which Holocaust Awareness Museum? Are you talking about the Canadian one, Kim? I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Elizabeth says, I was blessed enough to help a beggar, and I am not sick, and if you know me, I am very sick a lot. I understand that perfectly, Elizabeth. I've suffered from Lyme's disease, and it was a while before they caught it, and I have a lot of issues myself, and I'm glad you're feeling well right now, and I'm glad you were able to help someone else while you're feeling well. Isaac says, I suggest children's Hebrew books. I'm a big fan. Michael also, if Michael is still here. Michael had to leave. He went to a local shul. A big fan of Shalom Sesame myself. So, yeah. Curious George in Hebrew. That's awesome. I will have to check that out. The one in Philadelphia. Okay. I'm not sure if I was even aware that was there. I didn't come to Judaism until after I left Philadelphia, so I'm going to say that I wasn't aware that it was even there. Shalom Sesame rocks. Some of the other blessings we have, obviously I said Torah Trivia Night, which was absolutely fantastic. The two other weekly programs which we have, which are Torah Talk with Hannah on Mondays, which we finally worked out all the bugs and the technical difficulties, and we had a really good time last week. And Midweek Ma'ariv with Tracy, which is a Ma'ariv service on Wednesdays, which is really fantastic. It takes a little piece from here and there and places it all together, so we all get a little piece of happiness during the nightly prayers. Excuse me. We have, let's see, Rabbi Patrick has some good stuff he's working on. He's going to be going on tour shortly. Anybody who's caught his recent concerts in the Atlanta area, if not, I recommend you check him out. He's pretty awesome to watch. If you like that kind of music, if you don't like that kind of music, definitely awesome to watch. Now, with that being said, we'll get right on into the Shema. Give me a second to, I still haven't had time to do the video for this, so I'm going to throw a picture up and play the music over top. So this will take just a minute. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai.
Sorry about that. I fat fingered the button. We're going to get into Misha Barak now, which is a prayer for healing, whether it's spiritual healing or physical healing. I'm going to go through a short list, and I ask that you just, while it's playing, you can add the names of who you need healing for in the chat room, and that will be sufficient enough. I did get a chance to look at the OneShul wall this week. We do have a prayer wall on a OneShul / punktorah. Also, on my site, there's also one if you can't get into OneShul or if you're having a problem with that. So I'll run down my list. Michael Ban Savia, Nadine, Yitzhak Hashler, Rahamin Ben Penima, Sarah, Erich Kaplan, the Dark Horse 5th Battalion Marines, who are in a absolutely horrific battle in Afghanistan. As we speak, they have lost 9 soldiers in 4 days, and we ask prayers for their families also. Thank you for that, Ms. Rahel. Sarah, Rabbi Patrick, obviously he's having a few health issues here and there, and he's going on tour, so we wish him the best with obviously his travels and safe travels. That's very important. And Yagado Ben Shuru. And I apologize if I'm saying these names horribly. I'm doing the best I can, and that's who I have, so we'll get right into Mishebera. Which, by the way, I now have the transliteration and the English for, thanks to Mr. Alex, on the Siddur page. It is officially posted, so if you need the words to this, they are there. Thank you again, Alex. mean, that was a beautiful outpouring, and I thank you all. I've never seen so many requests. That was beautiful, and I would like to thank Akiva and Alex and anyone else who has served for our country or whatever country you are. You know, without you, we wouldn't be here, and we appreciate that so much. I myself was physically unable to serve and was actually looking forward to it, and I can definitely appreciate what you have done for us, and for those who can't. And for those, what's even more amazing is you do it for those who don't even care, and that's something that's really, really awesome. So thank you all very much for your service to our country and any country that you have served in. We're going to get into Mourner's Kaddish. Again, if you have someone you would like to share, please just post in the chat room, and that'll be fantastic. That'll be fine, and we'll get right into that.
Ama
Amen. That will conclude our observance part this evening. And we'll actually get into our topic of discussion. So I hope everybody feels free to join in this discussion. Keep in mind, I'm not teaching anything here. I'm just kind of throwing a topic out there. All the topics are actually picked by the OneShul community, you folks. This particular one was brought to me by many people, not just one, and they felt like it needed to be addressed. So I'm actually going to do that this evening. And the topic is the stranger. And it took a rather interesting turn, as a lot of my research does, as everybody knows. And it always turns around the back, or the opposite, 180, goes the opposite direction where I thought. I'd like to ask you a question. How many of you live in Israel? I don't know what a grok is. Grok? I don't know what that is. But how many of you live in Israel? Do I have that much of a delay, or you're more than welcome to answer. Isaac lives in Kansas. Yep. Hannah in Florida. Welcome, Hannah. Glad you can make it. Stranger in a Strange Land from Robert. I'm not even going to try to say that. I'm assuming that's a book. Akiva is in Missouri. Sarah is in Virginia. Alex did briefly, but you're not there now, Alex. Doc is in New York. Rahel is in you have to be kidding me, Rahel. All of you from Pennsylvania. No wonder we get along so well. That's funny. That is really funny. And Alex hit it. Alex exactly picked up what I was going to say. James is from Ohio. Lily, Indiana. Elizabeth is Michigan. None of us, not a single one of us here is living in Israel. And if we look at Parsha that I did 2 weeks ago, when Hashem was speaking with Abraham, he said, "You will be a stranger." We are not in Israel. We are the stranger. We're not home. We're in someone else's land. We're in someone else's world. And I know you're saying, well, what's this leading to? I was approached because there were some folks who were posting among us who were posting not so very nice things about Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, atheists, and other types of groups. You know, what does the Torah tell us about this? How do you think the Torah tells us to handle being the strangers in someone else's land? Oh, the book is actually based on that verse. Okay, I will have to check out the book. Awesome. If somebody would like to share the verse too, everybody knows I'm horrible at verses, okay? And I'll just let you know now, if you're expecting all that pulling verses stuff out, I am horrible at that. So if somebody else wants to share the verse, that's wonderful. That's just, that's why we're all here. We are to treat strangers with kindness because we were once strangers in a foreign land. That is correct. A lot of that pertains to them actually being in Israel and being in our land, but that doesn't change anything. It's how do we interact with the fact that we were once strangers too. Well, we're strangers right now. How do we handle that situation? How do we handle being surrounded by people who are not like us, don't believe what we believe, don't eat like we eat, don't observe like we observe, and have a tendency to do things that we find offensive. Many things that we find offensive. A lot of times we feel excluded. We don't feel validated. We feel like we're being cheated because at work we insist on taking the Sabbath and we get punished for that. Not always. In some cases, we feel like we're being punished for that. For our holidays, it's a struggle for us to take our high holidays. All of it. What's this bring? This brings anger. This brings resentment. The fact that people just don't come up to us and say, you know what, I understand you're different than us, but I'm okay with that, and that's cool, and that's wonderful, and we don't know how to handle that. We don't know how to deal with that people just don't totally freak out and accept us. Let me get caught up in the chat room. I got way behind. I'm sorry. This thing stopped. Okay. We are to love our neighbors as ourselves. But as I was saying, James, they're not in our neighborhood. We're in their neighborhood. If we're not in Israel, we are in their neighborhood. We were scattered. We were put out of our neighborhood. Though it's there now, we're not physically living there. And we have to, the Torah tells us, we have to actually conduct ourselves in that manner. Kim adds, referring to Abraham, but fingers were not cooperating. Sorry, thank you for okay. Which is why assimilation is at an all-time high, and that's true also, Hannah. That's very true. We need to act like people who are ambassadors of faith and Torah. Rahel, beautiful. You hit it right on the head to an extent. Keep in mind what it also goes on to speak of with Abraham. In Maimonides, it becomes extremely difficult to walk that path because it becomes unsafe, because not everyone is accepting. We are the light unto the world, which means we have to conduct ourselves in such a manner that people will look at us and our actions and say, oh wait, that's kind of cool, maybe we should conduct ourselves in that manner. But we have to keep in mind that we still have to abide by some of their things. All this brings about resentment, it brings about anger, it brings about frustration, it brings about feeling bad about yourself, it brings out confusion, and we can't let that happen. And we have to educate ourselves against that. Rahel adds, Exodus 22, and strangers shall you not wrong. Neither shall you oppress him. That is correct. And you're strangers, because you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Yes. And we're strangers now. And, that's some pretty interesting. If someone rejects me or Torah, that is fine as long as they don't try to interfere with me or my faith. That's where the tricky part comes in, Rahel. Because they're going to. And the key to dealing with that is educating yourself and in approaching it in a Torah manner. Conducting yourself as they won't. Not crossing that line into doing something you should not. And that's where it gets. I don't know anybody who doesn't have trouble with that. Alex adds Shemot, Exodus 22:21 and 23:9 are the verses that remind us of the fact that we are strangers, and that is correct. And Hannah says, care for strangers because we were once strangers in Egypt. Mitzvah repeated 32 times. That is correct. And if I'm not mistaken, it's repeated much more in other Talmudic teachings. Can we save chat conversations? No, we can't. You can copy and paste out of the chat though. But we can't save the chat conversation. I wish we could. Rahel says, I've had people try to do it and it gets me mad, but I try to just let it go. And that's what you have to do. When we go out, when we're supposed to be the light of the world, when we're supposed to show everyone the way of Hashem, we're supposed to be the examples of Hashem's love and what Hashem wants this world to be. And we go out and we start bashing and ridiculing and attacking, whether it's a race, a religion, a group, whatever it is, no matter what they have done to us, with one exception, which will lead into next week's thing, with one exception, we have to be the ones that conduct ourselves, no matter what, the way Torah tells us and the way Hashem wants us to. That's not always an easy thing to do. Matter of fact, it gets very difficult because people are attacking who we are. They're attacking what we are, what we believe we are, or we feel like they're attacking Hashem and attacking our people. And that's very emotional. And it can be very stressful. And that is correct, Lily. We don't live for... Well, that's sort of correct. We do live for others because we are the light for Hashem. We're here. We're on the earth. And part of living for Hashem is living for others. That's part of the deal. That's part of the mitzvah. That's part of the whole concept. Making hurtful remarks that perpetuates stereotypes and contributes to anti-Semitic. And that's exactly what it does when we start spewing this hate. And we start putting the hate out there and posting things on Facebook. Let's just face it. Let's just put it out there right on the table, Facebook. These hateful things and, all sorts of horrible things about Christians and Muslims, even if they're attacking us. If they're not attacking us in Israel, and we're not in Israel, we don't have a whole lot to say about it. We can support Israel, but we don't have a whole lot to say about it. Since we're here, we have to do what we're doing here, which is supporting Israel from where we are, which is fine, but we can't spew the hate because we're in the other person's neighborhood and we're making a bad impression, and this can be seen. Isaac, let's see, Alex says, I have seen many times Judaism described as ethnic monotheism. I can't even tell you how many times I've heard that. We are supposed to show the world that we are ethnically moral people. That is correct. We are supposed to show the world that there is a reason, Hashem's purpose. Isaac adds, we always look for similarities between groups of people rather than differences, which is awesome. Very good. This is just how I was raised, and that's wonderful that you had people to raise you like that. Focusing on differences separates us from keeping us from loving our neighbor. Exactly. Sarah Jacob Neusner wrote a beautiful small book called The Way of Torah about this very topic. I would love to read that book because I need to do much more into this, and this is a very deep topic and I really had to dig into it. Lily adds, I've also heard many Christians feeling less than Jewish people because we're chosen, and it's our duty to educate them that does not mean we are better than them, because it in no way, shape, or form means we are better than them. We are God's children, they are God's children. And a lot of times, keep in mind, we have very strict, observant lives. Many of us have very strict lives. Okay? We have eating habits. We have observances habits. You know, I have to be out of work at 4 o'clock on Friday. I can't be at work Saturday. I have different holidays. I show up for a company thing, and I'm sorry, I can't eat your you know, we brought pizza. I can't have your pizza. And if not said properly, or if you have a group that is not used to that type of thing, keep in mind I'm in the deep south and I'm in a small town, it comes across as us putting ourselves out there as better than everybody else. And we're not better than everybody else. We are chosen to act as an example to everyone else. And we need to let them know that. Listen, I'm not trying to, you know, push myself on you. I'm not trying to make myself better than you. That's not what it's about. You have to explain. No. You know, we're chosen to live our lives so that people understand the love of Hashem. That's what we're chosen for. That's the most talked about thing, is the chosen people issue. Let's see. I'm going to read this real quick. Kim adds, my difficulty is when challenged by people of certain religious groups who feel that they should believe their way. And I will be taking that on next week, Miss Kim. And I'm sure you're referring to missionaries. And I am presently writing an article for one of the top anti-missionary groups, and I will also be discussing that next week. And I have a few really awesome video presentations that are being given to me by some very high rabbinical figures on this subject. And we do have it much tougher, Alex. Much tougher. But there's a reason for that. You know, that's the way our souls are. Welcome to the world of the Jewish soul. Rahel adds, the funny thing is that when we have snack days at work, people always make sure that they have something kosher for me. And I have people doing that for me at work now, and I think it's wonderful. I've taught them what Hesher marks are, exactly, and they come in with them, and my mom is doing the same thing, and my local friends are doing the same thing, and it's wonderful. And I didn't force it either. I just simply said, listen, I cannot eat this. Well, what can you eat? And you explain to them. Missionaries and messianiacs, as Miss Sarah and I like to call them, yes. I'll be addressing that next week. I'm going to play a short video here as I'm getting parched. We're going to switch this up. We all basically have the idea. Now, if you need further guidance on how to handle this and how to deeperly handle this, you know, obviously you can look it up yourself, but we can discuss it. You know, it's a long topic. It's going to take much more time than we have here, but we can discuss that. You know, the thing is, educate yourself, educate your community, educate your family, educate your children, and educate the people that approach you. The ones that aren't coming at you and trying to convert you and all that are the ones I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the ones trying to convert you. That's a whole nother topic for next week. But I'm going to play a video here real quick so I can get a drink. I'd like you to put in the room. This is what I want. I want your input on how you feel you should handle another Jewish person attacking someone that is not Jewish or not of their race or not of their descent or whatever. How do you think? How does the Torah tell us we should approach this person? Because that is the true problem that we're addressing here, and I'd like all your input on that while the video is playing.
Shalom, this is Rabbi Jonathan Ginsburg of the Ezra Habanim Naus Township Jewish Congregation. This video is trying to address the issue of Jews and evangelicals. For many Jews, evangelicals are scary because they believe they're just trying to convert us and take over the world. I have a different view, and I hope a balanced view, and one that I hope will help explain Jews to evangelicals and evangelicals to Jews. First of all, I was part of a dialogue group in community where I was the rabbinic representative sent by the Jewish Community Relations Council, which was a group which co-sponsored this dialogue group with evangelical ministers with an organization called Bridges for Peace. And we met for a couple of years with ministers and myself and a few Jewish lay people to try and build bridges. And one of the things we decided at the beginning was we weren't going to try and convert each other. I said that Judaism deeply believes that at the end of time all people will recognize the truth of Judaism. As Zechariah says, we'll all gather at the temple in Jerusalem and worship Adonai. And Maimonides suggests that too. And they, I know, believe that at the end of time everyone will see the correctness of the Christian way. Well, we just agree to disagree, and we'll live whatever we can in this world. All we simply said is Jews consider it offensive for Christians to try and convert Jews to Christianity. We know some Christians believe it's their mission, but it's offensive to us. We don't think Christianity is the right way for us. It's fine for them, but please leave us alone. We think it's against God's will to try and seduce us away, and we think the Bible is very clear on that, about telling us that false dreamers and prophets will come to us and tell us to try and steer us away, and the stories of people actually trying to seduce us away to foreign religion. We're very happy with being Jewish. We believe it's the correct religion for us and for all those who want it. And we think in the end of time all people will come to see that the worship of Adonai in Jerusalem is the correct thing to do. In the meantime, let's just talk about what we can do in this world to make it productive. That's the way Jews see it. Now, not all evangelicals, this is for the Jews, want to convert us. And in fact, there are many evangelicals who support us and believe that God blessed us. Just heard this wonderful minister, John Hagee, who spoke at the American Israel Public Affairs Conference this past year in 2007, who said that his deep faith and commitment for Jews and for the state of Israel is founded on the promise God made to Abraham in Genesis that God will bless those who bless Israel and curse those who curse Israel. And that goes to also tell us that we should be in alliance with those evangelicals who support Israel. Most of the threats to Israel in America, besides from the Muslim community, are coming from the moderate and liberal Christians. It's the liberal Presbyterians that wanted to divest, and other Christian groups. There was a group from the evangelical Lutherans in Minnesota where was sent a letter to all the Lutheran ministers telling them about all the awful tragedies of Israel. The problems of Israel in America are coming from the moderate and liberal Christians. Not all, of course, but some. It's the evangelical community that supports Israel. Now, you may say you don't agree with their motives, and again, you can't group all 60, 70, 80, 100 million evangelicals into one group. Sure, there are some that are over the top and doing things that we consider sinful, like trying to convert us. But the biggest support for Israel doesn't come from the 5 million Jews. It comes from the 50 million evangelicals who support Israel and are organizing to help. And we need to make friends with those for whom we need to make friends. The state of Israel, the government, clearly understands this. They have close relationships with those people. And so it behooves the Jews to make allies with people on issues with whom we can agree and disagree on those areas where we disagree. Now, again to the evangelicals, if this story is true, that there are some evangelicals in the country who are trying to create a Christian theocracy here, like the Muslims have done. Just look over at the Islam world and see how horrible it is. That has to be fought very hard by not Jews, but by the evangelicals themselves and America, to say this country is founded on religious freedom, on religious tolerance, and we can't break that divide between church and state. We can't have a country that is evangelical in its fundamental laws that discriminate against others. That would destroy this greatest country on earth. Hope this clarifies some thinking, which helps explain Jews to evangelicals, evangelicals to Jews, and build bridges where they need to be built. Shalom. Shalom. This is Rabbi John.
Okay, for those of you who are not familiar with Rabbi Ginsburg, he is actually my conversion rabbi. He's my instructional rabbi. He is on my Bet Din. And I know I didn't say that right for some of you, but I'm in the South and we talk funny. So let's see if anybody had any input on how I'm glad you all found some good information in that. I'm really glad that you found information for that. And we do work together. And one of the things I was mentioning to Miss Sarah when we were having our conversation about this, if you look at the greatest Jewish movements, the strongest, the most powerful Jewish movements, all of them occurred when we were a cohesive unit with another religion. Sephardim was built in a Muslim city, and the strongest Sephardim movement ever was in a Muslim city where we shared that Muslim city side by side with Muslims. And we had a very powerful, very strong thing there. And people don't realize that. And people don't realize that that's can be accomplished. Kim, if you definitely, I gave you some of his stuff. Yes, there you go. Thank you, Rahel. Thank you. And he has a lot of good information. Rahel says, I would take the person in private space and ask them what their issue is with the person. I would try to remind them to be kind to all who are God's children, and would also take a stand to let them know they will no longer associate with them if they continue this action, which is pretty much on the money. Where I was going to go with this was this: rebuke. You have to rebuke the person. And you have to follow the halakha on rebuking. And I know I said that funny for you too, but again, I'm in the South. Akiva, that's wonderful. Definitely look me up on Facebook, because we can share some of our experiences. I would love to talk to you about that. That would be wonderful. It is definitely a very informative program. I'm learning so much. Of course, everybody knows I'm racking my brain with the exams, but yes, we must rebuke that person. We must rebuke that Jewish person, and we must do it following the Torah way of rebuking, which means with an open heart and an open mind, and quietly and in private, and not embarrass that person and not make that person feel bad. Yes, rebuke is difficult. Welcome to Judaism. But that's the way we are to handle it. If that person continues with that behavior, it follows the law of rebuke. If you're close to them, you have to keep rebuking and rebuking and rebuking 100 times, it says, until you can't speak. If you're not close to that person, block them. Cut them out of your life. Eliminate them. That's completely acceptable. Alex adds, a lot of things against us are the simple large group will bully a smaller group it sees as weak. If we stand strong instead of meekly, and many together, a lot that stops. No, I am not advocating violence, strength, in community. Alex, you are correct, but I'm going to put this challenge to you. What is your definition of strength? Because that is the key to what you just said. And no, violence is not the answer when it comes to these particular things in most cases. I've had one instance where they harassed me at work and ended up following me home, and I had to resort to violence because they broke into my home. But that's an extreme case and not recommended for everybody. But what is strength? What is Jewish strength? What is our strength? What is the strength that Hashem gives us in this situation, being strangers in a strange land? And my chat room needs to get caught up. Well, he says, I actually encountered someone who was very anti-Christian in my conversion class. I've told them multiple occasions that they are doing and agree with the ideologies, but you can at least respect them as a person. Yes, and the key again is education. Educate yourself. Know the text. Know the Torah. Know what the rabbis say. Know what your particular congregation says, your particular rabbi, what your particular movement says on these things. Alex says, I use it in a time in a conflict resolution all the time, high risk, security, industry. Speak firmly and intelligently. Rahel, Kiva identifies with her feeling. Kim, hard for me to define an answer. Depends on what a person is saying or doing. I deal with people according to the situation. Don't know chapter verse. And that's one of the things we need to find out, and we can learn that together. Like I said, I'm horrible with chapter and verse stuff. We can work on that together without a doubt. We all can do that. Those of you who are very strong in this area, I am not. I'm very strong with a webcam and getting on talking to you. So anytime I help you, ask for help with verses, that's why. Understand what the problem is, deal and talk to them, respect, and help a higher authority sort of reach that person. Redirect the other person's point of view. Strength is the ability to hold fast to one's principles and having to denigrate others in doing so. Sort of. But I've used working with children, behavioral autism, adults in different manners, and you do definitely have an insight. We've talked about that, and both of us have a bit of insight on that. Background, special education, and the spectrums, and we have worked in spectrum functionality. I'm actually from North Carolina. I'm on the Outer Banks in North Carolina, Isaac. Kill Devil Hills, to be exact. And our strength is our ability to do what we're supposed to do, and that is to act as a light unto the world. To show people by the way we conduct ourselves, the way we live our lives, the way we interact, to show people by our knowledge, by our text knowledge. I know I'm killing myself on that one, but it's true. You know, our knowledge of Torah, that is our strongest strength. Fighting is a last resort. Being a light, showing love, you know, being educated, knowing where and why, and guiding that person, and you know, you're trying to change their point of view. That's not an easy thing. And that is where our strength lies. A strength is going above and beyond what you thought you were capable of, and you can't go any more above and beyond going from wanting to punch somebody in the face or cursing them out, telling them to shut up, and that's putting it bluntly, to making yourself talk to that person calmly with an open heart and open mind. And no, you don't have to back down, and you don't have to cave in. If you make your point the way we're supposed to in rebuke, most of the time they will see and say, oh wow, that person didn't overreact, that person didn't get angry, that person was really cool with me about the whole thing. You know, everybody knows me. I'm a little rough. Many of you know that I'm a little rough. Let's see. Understand their point of view. And I'm big on that, Alex. And I have been very big on that this week. If you understand someone else's point of view, it is so much easier to talk to them. Even you don't have to accept their point of view. If you're exposed to it, if you've been around it, if you get an idea. That's why I'm in this whole missionary thing. I was supposed to be a missionary. I'll be completely honest with you. I was supposed to be a Christian missionary in Haiti before I turned away from the Christian church. It's so easy for me to talk to Christians and talk about missionaries because I have that understanding. And I understand what that missionary is thinking. And I understand what that person is going to say. And I know if I do my research and educate myself, I have something to counteract that and say, no, that's not what it's saying. This is what it's saying. You know? And not get mad about it and be cool about it. Oh no, I agree with the armed individuals, but what I'm specifically talking about here, Alex, is talking to another Jew who is, attacking, say, for instance, a Christian or a Muslim. That's specifically what I'm talking about. I know what you're saying with that. Yes, absolutely. Lily adds, Judaism teaches us self-control. We apply that to our tolerant level when we approach others. Yes, and that's the hardest. It has to be the hardest thing for me. Anybody who talks to me knows that I have chosen this month to be completely obnoxious. It's getting it out of my system so I can better handle the rest of the year. Kim says, oh, I know my temper, but the Jews I have known have never had a problem with them. But me, I have a Scottish temper. I have an Irish temper. I'm right there with you. Just no propensity to violence. Well, that's a good thing. And you shouldn't be violent towards other Jews anyways. That's completely not cool. I was planning on taking holy orders, and I was a youth minister before I realized the Catholic Church had no place for a person like me and begun studying Jews. Exactly, Isaac. Fantastic. So you have complete understanding of what I'm talking about. Blast the bagpipes. That was my first broadcast, Doc. You missed that one. I'm not sure if that's on YouTube or not. It was called Kippah and Kilts. Only real men wear them. So maybe you can catch that on YouTube. Exactly, Alex. Education, 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 education. I can't say that enough. And the big thing when dealing with another Jew is learning how to rebuke someone. And everybody will tell you this is one of the hardest things to deal with, and one of the hardest things to learn is rebuking someone. And it's a very, very touchy thing. But there are basic rules. Like I said, if they're closer, you have different rules than if it's somebody you don't know. If it's a community, you have different rules than if it's a singular person. You know, and Chabad has a tartan. Oh, you're so sending me the link to that. I want the link to that, Akiva. Rahel adds, I like the way Nathan rebuked David with the story to lead David to see his wrong ways. Exactly. And that's part of the whole thing. Isaac, Kim comes from a Catholic background also, and we talked about that. That is right. Rejection, bigotry, and all that. Yes. Yeah, if somebody send me that link if they find Chabad's tartan. Because I am getting one of those. I don't care if it's very expensive. I want one. Let's see. Oh, thank you. If somebody can grab that and send it to me via Facebook or my email, that'd be awesome. Because I'm not able to copy and post. Lily would like to point out that rebuking is not done in a careful way. It can also be bashing, and that is very correct, and that's what makes it so difficult. I do also have a YouTube video that I did, a class that a discussion we did on rebuking, so you can find that on YouTube also, on punktorah. Asher was Southern Baptist. I'm in the middle of that right now, let me tell you. Rahel came from Southern Baptist and atheism, and that's where I feel like I went to when I walked away from the church. So, you know, I would say that I can understand that. That's my phone going absolutely nuts because you're all sending me the link. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to take a brief moment. You know, OneShul. We are a non-profit, which means we do not advertise. We do not charge membership fees. The only thing that keeps this going is your donations. We ask a $5 to $10 donation per event that you attend. Whatever you can afford. If you can donate time, that's wonderful, because I am always in need of help. Torah Trivia was over 50 hours worth of work, and without a doubt, I need help with that. So, that being said, you know, we have to ask for the donations, and we appreciate the donations, and without them, we're not going to be here. So, you know, keep that in mind. The donation is right above. That side. No, that side. Over here. You know, please donate. Please keep this going, because I'm not going to be on here if we don't have donations. If anybody has talk to me in Facebook, Miss Kim, and we'll discuss what kind of help I need. That'd be great. And thank you for everyone who has helped. Keep in mind, around the Shabbat table is all of us coming to our table, our Shabbat table. That's why I want you folks doing the blessings. You folks, your contributions, your topics. I'm just the idiot with the camera that's got this all together and posting all your stuff and talking about all the things you want to talk about and maybe trying to put an interesting perspective on it, and that's it. So if nobody has any questions or comments on this, I'm just asking you, don't do the hate thing. Don't be bashing others, because it makes us look bad. It hurts us. It hurts you. B, if you know someone else who is Jewish and see someone else who is Jewish doing this, rebuke them. But rebuke them as the Torah tells us to rebuke them. Okay? And if you can't handle it and you can't deal with it and they don't listen, they don't respect the fact that you're upset by this, you can block them. They made the choice to offend you. They made a choice to offend us. It's not just you they're offending. They're offending us as in a community. They're making us as a community look bad. And we don't need that. And we don't want that. That's not what we're about here. We're about everybody. We're about loving everybody. We're about accepting everybody. As long as someone is in here conducting themselves in a decent manner, we will take anybody in here. It does not matter. Okay? We just ask that you respect what we're about. And we will respect what you're about. I don't think any of us have any problems with anybody in here between ourselves. We're completely, we have our little spats, and I've had a few spats here and there. A few people have blocked me. I'm very blunt, and when I'm blunt, people take offense to that. And that's probably why I may never be a rabbi. Who knows? So, there you go. And that being said, I am actually going to play a video to go out on, and I actually use this in Torah Trivia. Just let me find it. And thank you all for coming, and feel free to stay in the chat room. I'm actually going to get a drink again because my throat is absolutely killing me. Rahel loves blunt. Yes, we have our bouts, don't we, young lady? And so here we go. And blunt means to me is that I'm just not sugarcoating anything and being fluffy about it. I'm a direct person. I like being direct. And please don't take offense at that I'm direct, okay? I know you have your opinions, and I know you feel the way you do, and that's fine. I just put mine out there without saying, well, blah, 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 fluffy little bunnies and some flowers. No, okay? I tell it like I feel it is, and you either love me or hate me. Most people are cool with that. A couple people have blocked me, and that's just the way it is. Thank you all so much for coming. All the new faces, fantastic to see you. I hope you all took some stuff away from this, and I'm going to throw up the video for y'all.
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange.